Hello, Paul Ellis, Rick Group here. I'm going to show you our MCP server for TBO4. And really, I just want to show you the power of the MCP server that we've created here for TBO4 users and customers. So here you can see my screen. Yes, I've got Claude open and I've got Claude connected to the MCP server. I've got it connected to the TBO4 MCP server. I could have it connected to TBO4, which is our warehouse management solution. And I could also have it connected to my ERP, such as Acumatica or NetSuite or Business Central, whichever one it may be, if they've got the MCP server allowed. So here, what we can do is create reports, dashboards, queries. We can write SQL. We can do all sorts of things within the MCP server with our 200 plus tools that we've got in the TBO4 MCP server. What I'd like you to kind of recognize that this is what I would refer to as an all-in-one endpoint. So instead of having multiple endpoints like a REST API might have, MCP server, it's one endpoint. So here I've just queried, the database, which can look up TBO4 to say, can I have the bin locations and the top 10 items and what the quantity on hand is. So you'll see the explanation here. It's giving us that, we've got some data in there because it's our test database that includes hundreds of millions. So we're making sure that the WMS works with all sorts of data. Now, the next thing I might say is, what are the top items picked? What are the top items picked for last month? So it will go and do its query and work out the data and then explain it to me. You can see it's connecting to the MCP server. It goes and utilizes certain things that we've created, such as those connectors. And here we go. So we've got our top 10 items. So here we go for July. So we haven't got a huge amount of demo data, but it's telling us what the facts are, and it's querying the warehouse management solution database live. And then we say, maybe we ask for a report and see what it can present. What's really important here is we don't just ask it questions and present reports. You can get further and say, perhaps you can write a new dashboard for me. Perhaps you can present it to me in a manner that's going to be a management report. There's all sorts of things here that we can do with Claude because you're using the power of the Claude engine. So if I was a warehouse user, what I may use it for is to ask, what was the last pick? What was the last consignment created? A label's printed without any data. How do I go and query? Don't have to go and ask management to query the database. It produces it for me. It's got it linked into my Google Drive. Here's a report. Now I can go and create a, as I said before, it's not just used to query or make reports. It could be used to standing operating procedures. It could be asked to go and create workflow documentation. So documentation that I've got for my company when I'm picking orders could be different to another company. I can upload it into Claude and away it goes and creates the information that it needs. I've asked about it consignment data. It's giving me the consignment data, and it's also giving me the cost. You can see that some are zero and some are have a cost against it. The MaxShip ones have a cost, and the direct freight has a zero cost. You can see the date created. Now I'm asking for the last consignment, and look at the details, giving me 2 cartons, the freight cost, who was sent by, which customer, and the document number. I've also got a dashboard that I created yesterday on the cost of freight. So you can ask it to create some really meaningful reports. So it even analyzes the data for you. I don't need to tell anyone how powerful Claude is, but it can tell you the data, and it's looking. Hey, look, we've picked up a couple of the consignments created were at a zero cost. And then you can go and investigate that further. Let's see if it can create a workflow for me. I've given it some documents, and now it's going to use them as a reference. Let's do a visual flowchart. I haven't done one before, so let's see how it goes. Anything you create can be used as well. So if you create a report, you can ask it to go and use a support note that we give you, and to create a dashboard. You can actually go and do that inside TBO4. It uses Telerik to go and create the new dashboard. You might want to create something that's up to Fabric, Microsoft Fabric, and using MCP to go and connect to the ERP database and TBO4, and then go and create reports doing that. So you can go and do those type of things. Probably no limit here. And what I'm demonstrating here is just the initial type things which could help customers. You go to implement a new WMS, you want to write standing operating procedures, you want to write support notes that your support team can go and refer to. Well, what you can do is give Claude your documentation of TBO4 and go and start writing the standing operating procedures. Go and start writing workflow documentation that's going to be useful for your team to help onboard new people, to help train the team as well. And from there, management may use it to go and create some management dashboards. It can go and create any dashboards you like using the MCP server. And from there, you might have it as used on the warehouse floor to say, okay, well, a label just got printed as blank. This has happened before. The label printed blank. How do we go and quickly query what the last consignment was? The TBO4 MCP server can do that for you. And we're talking within seconds. So it's created a TBO4 working flow. So we can see here on the workflow, it's no problems. Okay, we connect to multiple ERPs. And here we go. It even gives you some of the errors. So like one of those things is actually good. What I've asked here is to say, are there items that are giving us errors when posting back to the ERP? I mean, we all need to understand that sometimes when you post back to the ERP, there could be a reason. Perhaps, it hasn't, it's not available. The API that TBO4 connects to isn't available. So I'm just using my Claude account here, connected to our TBO4 MCP server, which is connected to a demo database. So it runs as a service and connects to the database. And then from there, you can go and run your queries and reports and everything else that you need to using Claude. Don't forget, with the MCP server, you can connect to OpenAI, you can connect to Gemini. It doesn't matter which LLM model you're using. You can go and use any model you like and connect, and away you are. I asked it to write it into a Power BI report as well. So it gave me Excel documentation. And then we can go through here. And then it gives us how we did it and how we can do it into a Power BI. Might just stop that query. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. There we go. I needed to stop it before, but we can see that there's certain items causing an error, and here we go. So it's telling us that you need to check the Business One transaction log. or retry a business process because the current TBO4 is connected to SAP Business One. So that's what we have with the MCP server. Personally, I think it's probably one of the most powerful tools that we've created within TBO4. You can set this as well for different users. So different users can have connection, you allow the connection on certain connectors, and then you don't have to allow connections on other connectors. So for instance, what the warehouse user can query can be completely different to what the stakeholder or management can query compared to what customer service might query. So typical query might be from customer service, are there any picks in progress? It's asking us for permission. I'm going to allow. So you can set that in Claude. You can have a Teams license and those type of things and go through that permissions. So you can see that's checking the pick queue there of TBO4. And I think what you've got to understand is it actually knows all the tables. We've created connectors. So when it goes and checks these certain commands, it's not going and checking false data. It's checking the data that if you sent a support query to our team, we'd be checking the same data in the SQL database. There you go, 486 open picks. It's telling us that one of the picks is due today as well. So, you can go and query any of the data that we have in the warehouse management database using the MCP server. So there is no one who has to, when they say you can use, simple language, this is what you can do. You can use your own language to go and query the database. You can also, rather than being a SQL wizard and learning how to join tables, you can also query freight picking, status, and all sorts of tables at the same time using the MCP server. Thank you for listening. If you've got any further information, just send it through. Thank you.